Yeah.
And I have never felt so bad in my life.
It's funny now, though.
It's funny now.
It's a great story.
And the best part, though, and I'll have to edit the language for the podcast, but Chris Webb, like, deadpan, just kind of, well, Carpenter, aren't you an effing a-hole? And, like, just... Hey everybody out in YouTube land, my name is Mike and I love guitars, and this is another episode of the We Love Guitars podcast. I have one of my oldest, dearest friends here with me, Mr. Bill Bloss. Bill Bloss is the guitar player of the band Knuckle Deep. He's also been the guitar player in Ugly Tribe and Porno Villain and a number of other...
Lots of them.
Yeah, so
Lots of them.
The man, the myth, the legend.
That was an accident. What can I say? Your wife's never going to let me live that down.
No, that happened before she ever met you.
I've been in Austin for a day and a half now, and we went to dinner together and had a wonderful time, and she called me a legend the whole time.
Yeah, that's now you see what I have to deal with every day. Anyway, we've known each other for a very long time.
Yes, we have.
We both love guitars. We've both been through a lot of guitars, and
Lots.
Yeah, I'm a hoarder. He's a constantly rotating.
True. I used to be more of a collector. Then you know about my house fire. We won't get into that. We had a house fire, lost it all.
Yeah.
Then we had a flood, and kept having to start over with life, and the guitars kept taking a more of a back seat. But we keep talking about, and I know I've seen some of your other podcasts where you talk about the one. Your one is the 79.
Yes.
Everybody seems to find that one at some point. You were lucky enough to find yours very early.
Yeah.
I didn't find my one until 2007 or 8 or 9. I don't remember what the year was, but I ended up with a Gibson Les Paul Standard 2001.
No.
Nothing. It was a tobacco burst. Didn't even have flames.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And I've had many a guitar before and after.
Yeah.
That were more extravagant, but I don't know. That was the one. It's hard to explain.
When you find the one, that's all there is to it.
It's hard to explain.
We were just talking at dinner, and I always like to give Bill a hard time because when I met Bill, he was playing Gibsons. As a matter of fact, I sold you.
Sure did. $200. $200. $200.
It was that would have been in 96, 97.
Yeah.
I sold you, it was like a 95 Les Paul Studio, like a maroon Les Paul Studio. Yep. I guess technically wine red.
Yep.
I don't think it had any pickups in it.
Nope. It had. I ended up getting pickups from Brian Jones from Podunk, and here it comes Ace Frehley. I brought this for the podcast. There's Origins. We'll get it in a minute, but Brian Jones sold me a set of Seymour Duncan. No. I'm sorry, DiMarzio pickups for that guitar, and I put them in there because I was an Ace Frehley freak, and guitar sounded fantastic, and I got it from you. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I broke it. That was my first Les Paul. I was unaware that the headstock touches the ground before the back of the body, and it's going to break every time almost.
I think you dropped that on stage, something like that?
I did. It was one of those big rock and roll endings where we were doing the rock star thing, and Brad Byram, the bass player for Ugly Tribe, took his bass off, big Fender P bass at the time, and he just chunked it. You can't hurt him.
Yeah.
Shane, playing a Fender Stratocaster, just slung it across the stage. Can't do nothing to it. I was like, hey. And I just did that. And I didn't even realize it broke until we got to the next town, and it wouldn't tune.
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with this thing? It won't tune. Oh, I got to make some adjustments. Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, That was back in the day with my 79. I used to do similar things, but what
I've seen you're so mean to that guitar.
But here's what you never saw. When I would drop it like butt first and let it hit, I mean, only like a few inches, but it would still hit kind of hard.
You're so mean to that guitar.
But what you didn't see is I would always do it in a specific way. So when it started to go over, it was sliding down my leg, and I would stick my foot out.
I did not know that.
I would stick my foot out and catch the neck right before the headstock hit the ground every time. So because I was aware of, even being in Norland with it, they didn't have a severe a headstock angle as the newer ones did, but I was still always aware of it. So like I said, that was like my little secret, which I kind of wish now I hadn't done, because I feel partially responsible for you breaking the studio, because I know you saw me do that with my 79 so many times.
I did. I've copied you and ripped you off for years, by the way.
No worries. Like I said, a joke, that was always my little secret weapon, is the way I would drop it, it would just kind of slide down my leg, and I would kick my foot out
the one Mike Carpenter move that I would never attempt. And I know that you would never put your full weight on your guitar, but you would lay it flat on the ground. The Les Paul, the 79, and stand on it and make it go, whoa.
Never stood on it.
You just put pressure. But it was cool. It was cool.
I don't think I ever did that. What I would do, I don't remember ever putting my foot on it.
Yes, sir. I do. I remember.
What I do remember doing is getting it down on the ground, and I would detune the low E to where it would be super low, and then I would slap it really hard so it would go bow. But I'm not saying I didn't, but I don't remember ever.
I've seen you stand it. Just put your toe on it and just bend the neck with your toe. I've seen you do it.
I was like 20 years old, so probably.
Yeah. No, that was a Litany show.
Oh, I for sure didn't do it in Litany. It didn't happen. And I can say this, at any Litany show you ever saw, I was a lot more sober than you were.
True. True.
So
very true.
But one funny thing that because I always like to give you a hard time. It's always been my favorite Bill thing ever. Again, when I met him, he was playing Gibsons. You had was it the Blues Hawk for a while?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I actually know where that guitar is. We'll get to that later.
So you had you collected several Gibsons.
Uh-huh.
Then you sold them all and bought several Paul Reed Smiths.
Uh-huh.
Then you sold them all and bought several Gibsons.
Where's several, meaning like 5 or 6?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then you sold them all again and bought Paul Reed Smith.
Yes.
And then you sold them all again and bought Gibsons again.
Yes.
And that's the cycle we're on now. And you've just started acquiring some Paul Reed Smiths again.
I did. And I've never in my life played a bad Paul Reed Smith. Ever. Never. I prefer Gibson, but I've played plenty of bad Gibsons.
Yeah.
I've owned plenty of bad Gibsons. I just prefer a Gibson, but man, a Paul Reed Smith's a Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah.
People think they don't have an identity. They do.
Yeah. I agree.
They do. It is they call it dad rock now.
Yeah, yeah.
The mid 2000s, whatever,
Yeah, like they started to gain popularity in like the 90s and then the 2000s, yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Guilty. But it's been a very expensive love affair with Paul Reed Smith, and I don't regret it, although I had to find the right word, and Rachel helped me earlier find the right word where I didn't just
the impulsive. Yes.
Impulsive. I'm very impulsive, and I've gotten rid of some gem guitars. Just shouldn't have done it, but man.
Yeah.
A new guitar.
Yeah.
A new guitar.
Well, that's
And all I have to do is give him that guitar right there. I've done that so many times and regretted it, but
it's also if we're being completely honest, Paul at Guitar and Banjo makes it very easy.
For me, yes, he does.
I mean, even when I still lived down there, he made it very easy for me too. And that's not any kind of knock against Paul.
No, nope. Great man.
Yeah,
great
Paul's
man.
Paul's a great guy.
Guitar and Banjo Studios.
Beaumont, Texas. I don't know if I ever told you this. You know, I grew up like 3 blocks from Guitar Banjo.
Yeah. So, he used to kick me out of the store for skipping school, and I'm 52 years old. And I look older than he does now.
Yeah. I live close enough to Guitar and Banjo. I would ride my bicycle like 4 days a week to Guitar and Banjo, and again, kind of until they kicked me out, just because I play every single guitar in there. And then the very first guitar I ever bought for myself, like, you know, that I bought. And again, I talked about this in the very first podcast episode with Ethan and Shelby. So I learned how to play on my father's 69 Gibson SG. But then I ended up moving in with my mom. And when I left my father's house, it didn't end well when I left. So I didn't have any guitar, but I had just, you know, over a couple of years, I had a couple of friends like give me guitar pedals.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had like 3 or 4 or 5 guitar pedals. I didn't have a guitar, so I went to Guitar and Banjo, and they had like a lawsuit era Ibanez Les Paul custom copy.
I wish you still had that.
So do I.
Well, didn't you say it was a bolt-on neck, though?
Yes, it wasn't a great one.
It's irrelevant. I wish you still had that.
I do too. But they wanted $150 for it, and they gave me $145 trade on the pedal. So I still remember to this day, I paid $5.41 after tax for that guitar.
Nice.
And so so again, like I got that from Guitar and Banjo.
Nice.
And you know, and of course after that, like I got a job, and I was you know working on that dock in Southeast Texas, where I was working like literally 70 to 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was earning $5 an hour. That'll tell you how old I am. I was making $5 an hour, and that was above minimum wage.
Right.
But I was working so many hours that my paycheck was $500 a week.
Sweet.
And I was still living at home. So like the catch was I was working so much, I didn't even have time to cash my paychecks every week. Because I would literally like, well, I'll tell this part and then I'll go back to so I was, like I said, getting paid $500 a week, but I was also getting a lot of mileage money because I was doing a lot of driving. So I was
Lake Charles?
I
know what you're doing.
I was living off the mileage money going to Lake Charles and back
that
literally
job
every
financed
day.
Ugly Tribe for a couple of years.
It did. And then I would basically go cash all of my paychecks for like a month at once, and I'd have like $2,000. So I would go to Guitar and Banjo and buy a new guitar.
Sure.
So but back in the Ugly Tribe days, and again, you know, 20 years old, still living at home with my parents, you know, them starting to, maybe you should think about getting, you know, I stayed home too long. I'll be the first to admit it. But what I would do in the height of it, I would get up, go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I would get off at 5, drive straight home, take a shower, eat something real quick, go to band practice at 7, practice till about 9:30, get in the truck, be back on the clock, driving to Lake Charles, out to the dock out there.
Simply watching the heater,
Yeah, basically just sitting there watching the heater, make sure it's.
I did it a couple times after you left that place. I did it a couple times. I'd bring my guitar with me.
Yeah, I did. I started doing that too eventually. But I would go there. I would get there like 11 o'clock at night. Fire the heater. It doesn't matter what the heater was for, but I would fire it up and I would run it until like 6 p.m. the next afternoon.
Yeah.
Leave from that dock. Drive straight back to band practice, like wearing my Nomex coveralls. Practice.
Oil fields. Yeah.
Yes. And then get done practice like 9 o'clock. Leave, grab something to eat on my way home, take a shower, go to sleep, and get up the next day and do it all over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, I was working like 70, 80 hours a week.
I've done that a few times, and I'll go ahead and give you a hard time. There was one particular time I was doing the same thing, same job almost, and
for the same company.
Yeah, and he had left this band, Ugly Tribe, and I replaced him. That just happened. I mean, they didn't hire me to replace him. He left. I came in after he left.
I was young and dumb, got a little too big for my britches. No big deal.
Yeah.
But
so I am playing in the band now, and we were playing at Changing Times way on 11th Street. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I am
The Zone.
No, it wasn't the Zone. It was on College Street out towards. They had the lights, the big
the
lights.
Landing.
Yeah, the Landing. They had so many lights on stage that you had to wear sunblock. So, and I was on 60 hours almost with no sleep and just napping here and there, and I was tired.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to play your songs with you, not mad. Remember the meme that I sent you?
Yeah, yeah.
Critiquing me, not even really critiquing me, just watching me from the front row, and I can't play a note. I mean, I remember trying to play Smokestack and get the
feedback. Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible.
I'll put the meme up. I'll put the meme up on the screen. It's a funny, like a Halloween costume. The idea is like the costume is guy.
I'm playing his songs, and he's right there going like this.
Anyone who's ever been in a band though knows that like that's what you do when the other band's on stage. You're just like, or if you're going to see a national act, you're not doing this. What you're doing, if your guitar player's like,
yeah.
What's he doing? What's he doing? How's he doing that? Mm-hmm. So, but it's a weird thing going to watch other bands as a musician because it's really difficult to just enjoy the music because. Or at least for me, I do love the music, but it's always like I'm such a student of the craft
and a fan. I'm a student and a fan. Yes.
Yeah. So I always want to know.
But you never come off as a fan when you're standing in front of, especially if you know that person and you know there's another musician. There's the guys from Room 21.
Yeah.
There's the guys from Ugly Tribe. There's the guys from Pornoville, and you're thinking, man, I can't mess up. I got to up my game. So we kind of pushed each other. They don't have that anymore right now.
Yeah,
that was a good thing, I think.
I will never forget. It was one of my last shows with Ugly Tribe. It was an Art put this like end of the summer, and we all played it.
Yeah.
But we played. For whatever reason, Art decided we were headlining, which, Art's a great guy, and he was always a big fan of our band, which we were always very appreciative of. I don't feel like we were necessarily the best band that night, but he wanted us to headline. We headlined. But, man, we had to go on right after Room 21. And I love all those guys to death. They are a hard act to follow. Because that was dude. They were a well-oiled machine, and they were so tight,
it's hard to
tight.
explain because as a musician, you can say, "This guy's a virtuoso. This guy's a virtuoso." We're this part of Southeast Texas. There's like 2 or 3 bass players that are as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
End of story. Worldwide, they're as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And David Pickett's one of them.
Yeah.
Carl Richardson's another one.
Yeah.
They're just as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who they are. Well, David did well.
Yeah.
With,
David
Monty.
ended up playing with Monty Montgomery forever, basically. Yeah. He still plays with
as good as Brad was. David is just
yeah.
And that's hard act to follow. Room 21 was, man, they stomped some.
Like I said, they were a machine, and especially like with David on bass and singing, and then Webb playing drums, because Webb was a machine.
He still is a machine.
Absolutely. And then Tommy is probably,
and he still got all of his hair.
Yeah,
Keith Hilton, Chris Webb. Who else, man? We got to address the elephant in the room. So I've seen your podcast, and I love this creative outlet that you've put together.
Thanks, sir.
And I wish I could do this.
But you're saying I need fewer bald guys on the podcast?
Well, you've had Ethan, Shelby, me, you. This guy used to have beautiful hair. Beautiful, beautiful hair. I've never really had the most beautiful hair, but our friend that we shared and we still play with, our drummer Keith Hilton.
Yeah.
He still has the most beautiful set of head of hair that I've just. My wife even's like, he's got such a pretty head of hair.
Shane still got a
Shane, yes.
All these guys must be nice. All you guys that still have a full
of
head of hair
on my back.
Yeah. So, but so we played. Sorry, jumping back to the story.
Yeah.
The end of the summer. Yeah. End of the summer bash. I actually got like irritated. I wasn't like being a jerk to anybody, but I was like, God, we got to play after Room 20. And, everybody else in Ugly Tribe was like, oh, man, no, that's good. We're going to blow them out of the water. I was like, have you lost your mind?
Ugly Tribe was good. Ugly Tribe was great.
We were a very different kind of band. I should say that It
was a very good lineup.
Yes. And as much as I loved what I was doing in Ugly Tribe, I was also one of the biggest Room 21 fans there were. I was a huge fan of what they did.
I can't disagree with you. Room 21 in that era in Southeast Texas was the best band, in my opinion.
I agree, and I think they probably, better than anyone else in the scene at the time, had truly their own sound.
Sure.
Because I still listen to the old Room 21 stuff, and I still can't say they sound like XYZ. They sound like Room 21. And Ugly Tribe, I can point to a lot of influences. We kind of sounded like Alice in Chains. We kind of sounded like Tool. We kind of sounded like Soundgarden.
A little bit of all over the place. You're right.
Yeah. Especially like the first year of Ugly Tribe was a very cohesive sound.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of cross collaboration in that first year.
Yeah.
After that, it really became more. Brad would go off by himself and write something, and just show up in the practice room with a completed song, and Keith and I would get together, and we would write something and show up with the completed song. So
Keith being the drummer,
yes,
and is such a great songwriter.
He is, mainly because he would come up with guitar riffs that, as a guitar player, you would never think of.
Nope, we call them the Keith Hilton notes, Keith Hilton chords.
Yes,
and they hurt.
Yes,
they hurt.
They're parts that you would never think
of.
And
he gets off on it so bad he'll extend the verse or the bridge or the breakdown, whatever you're doing. If he sees you in pain, shame on you. He smells blood. He's gonna keep on going.
I was going to say, like, he not only does he come up with things that you would never think of, he comes up with things that you wouldn't want to think of, because they're always really hard to play. Anyway, so like I said, that Ugly Tribe, towards the end of my time in Ugly Tribe, the sound got a little bit fractured. Just because of we weren't writing as a group.
I don't think it ever recovered. My favorite songs and that I got to play in my time in Ugly Tribe were the songs you wrote or the songs you and Keith wrote. Yeah. Those were my favorite songs. After that, I did some writing, and I enjoyed my time after. And then eventually Keith left the band, and we continued writing. It just kept morphing into something more pop.
Yeah.
And then it just ended. But, and then, you moved off and were very successful with Residue and Litany. And
I would say
all Knuckle Deep was a birth baby of Ugly Tribe, and so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, you and Keith kind of continuing with the torch or whatever. I don't know that I would say I was very successful with Residue.
Sure you were.
We had some.
No more than Knuckle Deep.
Yeah.
Just a very good, successful regional act.
You guys were much more successful in your area.
Sure. We were the only game in town.
And, of course, that's always one of the challenges of being in Austin.
Yeah.
You can be a fantastic band, but it is extremely difficult in Austin to get people to leave their houses. They're the way I always say, there are 1 million bands in Austin, 999,000 of them are not great, and people just get worn out by all of their friends and coworkers basically begging them to come and see their band.
Yeah. Knuckle Deep, we were successful in Dallas, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Port Arthur, and Beaumont were 2 different scenes. We did okay in Houston. We didn't really make a lot of money, although it really wasn't always about the money. When we come to Austin, we were just another act.
Yeah.
That was it, and that was okay. We enjoyed playing in Austin every time I think we played Rock City Ice House.
Yeah.
And Brad Byram was there to see us, and so was Rachel. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was all.
Well, I think that was, if I remember correctly,
South by Southwest.
Yeah, it was during South by Southwest. And we were playing somewhere downtown. Yes. And of course,
we were as far away from the goings on of South by Southwest as you could get.
And the punchline of this whole thing is my wife went to see his band and not mine.
Anyway, well, I'm glad she did, because she was one of 2 people there.
There you go. Yeah, Austin is it's a great town if you want to go see music, because there's always somebody playing somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really rough town if you're the one playing the music, because it's, like I said, it's just so hard to get people to come out. But I still love living in Austin. Well,
sure. I've got a lot of good stories from playing in Austin. From just road trips. Every time we'd go on a road trip, when I was in Ugly Tribe and Knuckle Deep, we'd always end up rolling through Austin. And, if we didn't have a cabinet roll down Guadalupe into a brick wall or a glass window, then you put it in the back of the whatever it was, Suburban, and turn too fast and it slides over and knocks the window out of the Tahoe or whatever it was. Yeah, it's just people in Austin really. I remember playing the Mohawk one night, and it was outside, and I looked over and there was a bank or something, and it was 34 degrees outside. And
I was at that show.
Yes, you were. And I remember telling Ethan, I was like, as soon as we start playing, that table right there is hauling ass. They're gone. They're out of here. Whoa. They were like, pew.
Yeah, I had to chuckle because when we played, I don't remember the name of the club, but we played that place right behind Central Mall with you guys.
Caches.
Yeah, Caches.
Yeah.
And it was the night we had the little mini Ugly Tribe reunion.
Yes, that was a fun night.
Yeah,
yes.
Where we got up on stage in between us and you guys.
Yep.
You, me, Keith, and Brad got up because Brad was playing with us at the time.
Sure, yeah.
And so we did 4 songs. But as I'm sound checking, and I don't, just getting my amp warmed up and just kind of getting my fingers warmed up, I play a couple of riffs and then hit a couple of pinch harmonics, because that's what I do.
Sure.
And I remember seeing this lady stomping up to the stage. I'm and she gets right up there, right from me. She's like, "Stop it!" She kind of started. She said, "Stop it!" Turned around and started to walk away, and so I hit another harmonic. And she immediately turned, "Stop it!"
Karen.
A little bit. And I will admit, I could have, I'll tell you what I should have done, and then I'll tell you what I did.
You should have broke out that wah pedal.
That's the part I did. No, what I should have done, be just, we're getting ready to start playing. This is how it works. What I did is, if you remember at the time, I had the Bloss Super Shifter.
Yes.
To where when I hit it would almost like the Digitech whammy kind of thing. So, again, probably not the best way to de-escalate. I clicked my wah on all the way forward. I turned my delay on, and I stomped on the Super Shifter all the way up, and then when you grab the high E and you pull it off the side of the fretboard.
Oh yeah.
So it's hitting
and it makes that little metal sound. Yeah.
Imagine that with the Crybaby on all the way forward and with the Super Shifter shifting it up an octave and a half.
Oh yeah, that's
she was not happy with me.
Oh yeah. What is that that
Yeah, like the horror movie.
The horror movie. Yeah. That's evil.
Was that Psycho?
Yeah, Psycho. That's evil.
Yeah. So,
Mike.
like I said, I probably could have de-escalated that a little bit better, but I was, sometimes when you're just like, if you're about to go on stage, or in that case, like you're standing on stage, you kind of have to have like that bulletproof attitude, and you can't let people like rattle you.
Yeah, even if they throw stuff at you and hit you, which I've only had happen one time.
Okay, what had happened was,
I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows all over Texas and some parts of America, and I've had one person throw something at me. One.
What had happened was...
Wait, I gotta get my thumb right. There it is.
So we were at the Zone in Beaumont, and the Zone had there's the stage, and then there was a circular stairway going up to a second level, and then a balcony behind the stage. So his band Porno Villain was playing.
Terrible band.
No, I like Porno Villain.
Most of my bands have awful names.
It was not anyway. So I am up right at the top of the spiral staircase, so it's up into the side of the stage, and I'm hanging out again with Chris Webb, drummer from Room 21, and he and I are just talking, and they're playing, and they're in between songs, and what is that? Behind Her Eyes? Is that the name of that song?
No, that wasn't the name of the song. I don't remember the name of the song.
Okay. Anyway, it was kind of like their big song, and in my head. And again, zero animosity. I've always loved this guy to death. I look over to the side. I'm sitting there talking to Chris, and there's a mannequin head sitting right next to us. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's about to start the intro, and he's looking down like this as he's playing. Wouldn't it be funny if while he's playing, this mannequin head just lands right at his feet? And so it's the head staring up at him as he's looking down, and in my head, I throw it. He looks up at me, I look down at him, and we both just start dying laughing. That was
what it was. That was the plan.
That was the plan.
It's not what happened.
So I toss it, and I can see it in the air, arcing through the air, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Yeah, well, I remember, and it hit me in my right hand, pow, and my pick goes,
hit him directly in
my
the hand, right above the pickups.
Yeah,
and I have never felt so bad in my life.
It's funny now, though.
It's funny now.
It's a great story.
And the best part, though, and I'll have to edit the language for the podcast, but Chris Webb, deadpan, just kind of, well, Carpenter, aren't you an effing a-hole? And just so matter of factly. And I was like, oh my God, and so I had to, at the end of that song, because there was another stairway on the other side that led to the back of the stage. At the end of that song, I crawled down the stairway, Bill, I'm so sorry, man.
Man, it's all good. The funny thing is I didn't realize that Chris Webb was with you when you did that, and me and Chris we all share a mutual friend named Chad who used to just antagonize Chris and me against each other, and I've never ever disliked Chris Webb. I've always liked him, but Chad would just do stuff and it's man, I couldn't think that. I think the world of Chris Webb now. That dude is so awesome. I've always liked him, but what a spectacular person, man.
Well, it's, again, what we were talking about earlier tonight is, and as I've said before, the people that you play music with at that age.
Sure.
Doesn't even have to be in the same. If you share a stage, don't even have to be in the same band.
Yeah.
If you're in like that same scene, you're playing shows together, you're slogging it through together. Like those are friendships that last forever. And
it's and unfortunately, I don't see it anymore. Me and Jason Touche were talking about the scene back then, and that was kind of the end of every. That's doing the podunk thing and Jason's married to Norma now. And Norma's, I don't know exactly how old she is. She's quite a bit younger, but tremendous talent.
Yeah.
What a tremendous talent. Great vocalist, just great human being.
Yeah.
But she missed it. She missed it.
Yeah.
She missed it. And Lee Pelly, thankfully, he's doing really good these days. Unfortunately, his second ex-wife, she's a good person as well. She kept she tended to ask me questions about Knuckle Deep and what and this and what that, and I was like, you missed it.
Yeah,
you missed it. The thing is about Knuckle Deep is we stayed at the party a little bit too long, and it kind of ended up biting us in the rear end.
Well,
but wouldn't do it again.
The honest truth, though, and I know you said earlier, like you're the only game in town. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because in Knuckle Deep in the heyday, like it didn't get any better for a local band than Knuckle Deep in the heyday. You guys wrote great songs. You put on great shows. I mean, God knows I played enough shows with you guys.
Sure.
And I was out of the game for a while, and it was the first Knuckle Deep CD release party. I was like, okay, I got to do this again. That's what started like my second round when I joined Litany for the Departed, and then later we did Residue.
What happened?
It was all because of that first Knuckle Deep CD release party.
They, during that time period, they opened up Crockett Street in Beaumont. There were bands around, but they were mostly metal.
Yeah.
And when they opened up Crockett Street, there were no rock and roll bands. Podunk was off on tour. In Austin, they were gone. Yeah. There was no local rock and roll bands, just rock and roll.
Yeah.
And we filled that void, and then we were able to suck up all of the national acts that came through there. So very quickly, we became kind of the go-to band. But we were veterans of the local music scene.
I think we need to explain here.
We were veterans. Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I didn't hear it live, so I'll set it up. You guys...
I was trying to tell this exact story on Big Dog radio. 106, live radio, trying to tell the exact same story I'm telling you guys. And the band was simply in the right place at the right time. With the opening of Crockett Street, the promoters bringing national acts in, there were no rock and roll bands, and we were a group of local veterans that were able to throw something together real quick that was really good. But I said, hey, yeah, we're a bunch of local legends. And live on the radio, Control-Alt-Delete. I couldn't take it back. It was live.
And it was an honest mistake. He legitimately meant to say veterans. But it was a hilarious moment. And that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah.
And ever since then, every single time my wife Rachel has seen Bill, she goes, "Look, it's the legend."
Yeah, I get that time from her, and I love it. I really do. But I get it from a few other people as well, or the Who the F is Bill.
Yes.
So I get that a lot too. So, and that comes simply from playing shows, and like we played Lake Charles Civic Center. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I would work. I have a real job, so I would get off work and I would go to these shows, and my stuff would be there. Keith would always hook me up, and they wouldn't let me in. And I would say, "Hey, well, look, I'm the guitar player in Knuckle Deep." Well, you're not Lee Pelly. I know I'm not Lee Pelly. I'm Bill. I'm the guitar player. I play lead guitar.
Lee was the singer.
Yes.
He did play guitar as well, but he was the singer.
But so, can I get in? I need to get in. We got a sound check. I was like, well, you're not Lee Pelly. No, I'm not Lee Pelly. I'm Bill. Well, who the F is Bill? So there was a T-shirt made with that on the back.
Yeah.
And we sold hundreds of them. Hundreds of them.
Never did get one.
I didn't either. I never got one either.
There you go. That's fair. So, and this has been great. You're telling a lot of stories, but we haven't really talked about guitars much.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about your proclivity of flip-flopping between Gibson and PRS.
And I started out on an Ibanez
Destroyer. Yeah.
And I still have that guitar. It's unplayable.
Yeah.
It's in one piece, kind of. It's going to be a wall hanger. I want to do something with it. There's no way I could ever put it back together. However, you did I actually brought, I used that guitar when I first joined Ugly Tribe.
Yeah.
And this guitar was so awkward. Destroyer, you'd have to Google it. The strap buttons were in the wrong spot, so if I let it go, it would flip over.
Yeah. It was, I believe the Destroyer was post lawsuit era. The Ibanez interpretation of the Gibson Explorer.
Yes. And I had the Phil Collins model.
Yeah.
So anyway, I remember joining Ugly Tribe with that guitar. And I had it a few years, and Keith Hilton told me, all right, man, this is going to work. You have to get a new guitar. You've got 2 weeks. And I didn't have any money. And Mike, that's when we talked about earlier. Yeah. You bailed me out on that one, dude. Who you couldn't buy a Les Paul Studio for $200 in '96.
Yeah.
That was still cheap.
And I want to say I that's why I took that money, and it's when I was trying to buy that Norland Les Paul Custom from Brian
black
Jones.
One, that black, yeah.
I ended up, it's the one that got away. I never could. I didn't have the money to finish because a bunch of stuff happened in my life all at once, and I didn't have the money to finish paying them off, and so I had to give it back. So like I said, that'll always be the one that got away. But yeah, that's what I did with that $200. I gave Brian. I had again like a Norland-ish Les Paul Special.
Yeah.
So it was like the two P90s.
Didn't you just put one of those on layaway, or didn't you just get one?
Sitting over there on
That's
the
right. That's right.
I got that a couple years ago now.
Yeah. That wasn't my first guitar, but that was my first guitar that I worked with.
Yeah.
My first guitar was just an old Goya acoustic guitar that my stepmother had, and it was a copy of a Hummingbird.
Yeah.
And I used to beat on it and play around with it and mess around with it until I broke all the strings off of it except the 5th string and the 6th string.
Yeah.
And they just happened to be in power chord tuning, perfect,
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, this kind of makes sense now. Yeah. And my aunt and uncle played, but I started out when I was about 15 or 16, and I ended up back and forth. Tried bass for a little while. I didn't feel
didn't
worthy. That's disclaimer. That's not a bash towards bass players. That's a totally different animal. And if
it is.
It is not easy to play. I don't care what you think. It's not easy to play.
It does require a completely different mindset.
Yes. But yeah, I started there, ended up with that. Then I got the Gibson from you. That was my third guitar. Broke it. I don't remember what I got next. From there, it's a blur.
Yeah.
All the way to pretty much what I got now.
I've
owned them all.
Yeah, I was like, for years I kind of I churned through a bunch of guitars for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And then it's really only been in the last 5 to 7 that I've really just started hoarding, if you will. Really more than anything is because I'm finally in a financial position where I don't have to sell a bunch of stuff every time I want to buy a new guitar.
You and Shelby have finally not sold me, but I would say sold me, but not convinced me, but I guess turned me on to Norland era Gibsons.
Yeah.
I never tried them. I never wanted to.
Yeah.
And then Shelby gave me one.
Yeah. So Bill has the Franken Paul is what I call it. The EVH painted
Yes.
Les Paul is a 79 Les Paul standard, just like mine. And Shelby acquired it in a kind of a stripped down state and ended up giving it to Bill.
Yeah, it was destroyed.
But I made a video on it.
All in one piece. Oddly enough, the pickups that are in the Frankie, we call it Frankie, the Les Paul, are the pickups that come out of my Ibanez, my first guitar. So
there you go.
Because that was all that was left that was any good. But yeah, I've had them all. I like the Norland era guitars. I like mid-90s to 2010-ish Gibsons and Paul Reeds.
Yeah.
However, here in later years, I've heard you and Ethan talk, Ethan and Shelby talk about this, the Paul Reed Smith SE series and some of these new Epiphones that they're making, these Sully guitars.
Yeah. They're awesome.
I'm getting me a Sully guitar.
Yeah,
I'm getting me a Sully guitar. I've banging on Ethan's right now at my house. There's one right there. I'm getting one.
Yeah, you got Ethan's Raven, right?
I do.
Yeah, I did the previous video on that Raven. It's a great guitar. And we will have more Sullys on the channel soon. But yeah, and I just had the podcast with John Sullivan of Sully Guitars, and he's a really, really, really cool guy. Said a couple times the overseas guitar, just the quality has really, really gone up. And I would love to have another Paul Reed, because I've had two Paul Reed Smiths over the years. Had one core Paul Reed Smith back in the late the Ugly Tribe.
Yeah.
Time, either right before or right after Ugly Tribe. I don't remember.
And those guitars right there are really affordable. They're still quite expensive, but for some of these, like that one I brought you, it's vintage now, and it's just it's $2,000 guitar.
Yeah,
Knew it was $24.
Well, I was gonna say, I had that core one, and then I had the Paul Reed Smith SE right around 2020, and I'd love to get another one, but the problem is, almost everything I buy comes from pawn shops, and you just don't see Paul Reed Smiths end up in pawn shops. Not around here.
The SEs are so good; people are just buying them up, and it kind of has crashed somewhat of the aftermarket or the underground market of the
core models,
from the '90s and early 2000s. But hey, go take advantage. Go get them.
Yeah. Like I said, if I can find one in a pawn shop, I'm going to snap it up. I don't know why I buy everything in pawn shops. I just love pawn shops. I always have, always will. That's just kind of my thing, I guess. I don't know.
You can find some good stuff in pawn shops.
I've found lots of good stuff in pawn shops.
Especially here. You can't really find this, not as much down in Beaumont, but here you can find it.
Yeah, Austin is a
hodgepodge.
Yeah, it's a fantastic town to be a pawn shopper in. There's always the thing with pawn shops is, like, 95% of the time it's going to be nothing but crap when you walk in, but it's that 5% of the time, when you find that good piece, you got to jump on it, and it's all about consistency. You got to keep going in. So, like, my favorite pawn shop down the road, I literally go in at least once a week.
Yeah,
like.
Just to make sure nothing sneaks by you. Yeah.
Just look, I'm
still
going
do
in
that
there.
at guitar and banjo. I don't want anything sneaking by me.
Well, Paul has so much. We've talked about this many times. Paul has so much amazing stuff in that store, like stuff that he doesn't even know he has.
Yes, true. And I've got such a good relationship with him. I could have bid him a few times. Now, he's won a few with me, and I've won a few with him as far as back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's never really taken advantage of me, and there was one time I could have just hammered him, and I couldn't do it. And I ended up borrowing. I was planning on buying this Trini Lopez DG 335.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what DG meant.
Yeah.
It was a Dave Grohl model.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like $15,000.
Yeah.
He was going to sell it to me for $2,400. And I got home and I was telling everybody about it. I was like, I don't know if I want a Dave Grohl guitar.
Yeah.
I don't really want Dave Grohl guitar. I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan, but I don't want this guitar.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and get the other 335 that I lost in the fire.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did some research. I was like, you don't have no Dave Grohl guitar. I was like, yeah, I do. And I was, no, you don't, and it was a friend of ours, Spank Moo, and she sent me a picture, and I just discovered Google at the time.
Yeah.
I Googled that.
That had been like 2015.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. And I sat there and I contemplated, and I was like, I can't do it. So I took it back and I told Paul, I was like, dude, this guitar is like $15,000. You got to put it up, you know. And he was like, thank you, but I don't know how it's, dude. Me and you, our ADD kicks in and we get like left field. Where were we at?
I think we were talking about the how Paul has so much stuff that he doesn't even know what he has.
Yeah.
I remember the last time we went in there, it was still like mid-pandemic. We were both wearing masks. And we just
that Cadillac. Remember that Cadillac?
Yeah.
Jason Touche ended up with that Cadillac.
Yeah. So we went in the back and just he's got this whole rack of guitars and cases in the back, and we just go back there because it's been years since I'd been in there, but Bill's in there so much he just let us go into the back and we just start pulling cases, and then was it Zito walked in and started pulling cases too?
Zito's half everything in there belonged to Zito at one point in
time. And then I think you said he's got that whole other space
store, yeah,
where it's like not even open to the public. It's just like his overflow area. So I said he's got so much stuff he doesn't even he loses track of what he's got.
Hey, do you still have this? I had one of those. Yeah. Oh, no, we sold that. And I was like, you just don't want to go over to the next door and unlock the. I get it.
Yeah.
But I had a 2000 probably. I had a white SG 61 reissue, VOS, custom shop, with a 59 neck. They do exist. Yeah. They are a manufactured custom shop guitar. I did not know what I had. I played this guitar for a little while. Paul was going to sell me that for $24,600.
Yeah.
And I thought it was too much. And that was one of the times where he was giving me a deal and I was too blind to realize what I had.
Yeah.
And that guitar haunts me. I still call him monthly. Hey, you seen that guitar yet? I let it get away. That guitar haunts me. But I've been through so many guitars here and my time on earth just this far. I've got some regrets, but not really.
That's
the one that got away.
The one that got away.
I remember that night it all fell off the guitar stand and you caught it.
Yeah. Since you were talking about the SG and always wishing you hadn't let it go.
But we were talking about Paul Reed Smith SE models.
Yeah.
The new GM, the new people at Gibson, I think are putting out a great product.
Yeah, Cesar.
With the 50s models, there's one there for you. I've played a few of those, and I've played the 60s. I don't want to say this, they're kind of like Paul Reed, the way Paul Reeds are so consistent with each other.
Yeah.
Because I spoke earlier, I've never played a bad Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah.
And I've played plenty of bad Gibsons. Yeah. But these new 50s style Gibsons and 60s, they all feel the same.
Yeah.
If you set them up the way you want them, they feel the same. They sound almost identical. They're more consistent than they've ever been with their product, Gibson is anyway. Because I've played more bad Gibsons than I've played good ones. Yeah. And I still like Gibson better.
I feel very lucky that all of the Gibsons I have, they play great, they sound great. And like I said, it's just been kind of one of those things. Like I just feel really lucky that the ones that I have come across have just all been fantastic.
Yeah.
I've bought, I think, 3 brand new guitars ever. One was that Les Paul Studio I sold to you, and then that Blueberry Burst and that Adam Jones Silver Burst I've got over there. And both of those 2 guitars, and they're, I think the Blueberry Burst is a 2020 and the Adam Jones is a 2022. Both of them are fantastic guitars.
Know the Blueberry Burst is durable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Seen that guitar. Here's something you never see. Which camera? Here's something you never see. You'll never see a Gibson Les Paul with the headstock pointed straight at the ground, vertical, right?
Well,
drop, bounce on the headstock, bounce, and catch it and not break.
Not break. The very first video I ever made for this channel, I was in Southeast Texas playing with these guys with the Blueberry Burst. I had just gotten it too. That guitar, it was like I'd gotten it right after Christmas, like 2 days before the end of the year. Yep. And it was like February, maybe March, that I came down to Southeast Texas and we're playing. In the Knuckle Deep practice room, which it's like a concrete floor with like indoor-outdoor carpet laid over the top of it. There's like no padding whatsoever. No. And the strap lock failed. And, I will take the responsibility insofar as I did something I don't ever do, which is I took both hands off the guitar at the same time because I was trying to find a song that I was going to play through the PA so we could hear it to like remember something. And it just happened to be that 10 seconds I took both hands off the guitar because I had my phone in my hand, scrolling through, and the strap lock failed. And the guitar, I got very lucky. So it was sitting like this, and it was the front strap lock that failed. So it did one of those.
Yeah.
And I dropped my phone, and I caught the volume knob, either volume or maybe it was a tone knob.
Yeah.
So I caught the tone knob.
I remember that. It ripped it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
It cracked it.
That's
so
right.
I caught the tone knob, and I reached for the neck, but missed the neck, and the headstock just went.
I've never
BAM!
Ever seen a Gibson take a fall like that and not break. Ever.
All four of us in the room, we all nobody said a word. We all sucked in and I checked it out, and it was, I couldn't believe it. It didn't break. It was okay. And I think we all said we were all sick to our stomach, every one of us, because of.
You had to have been there.
Yeah. It was. It was one of those things. I got super lucky. That's all I can say.
But I've been a guitar snob a little bit my whole life, I'll admit. These days, though, with what you're doing and what Ethan and Shelby are doing, opened my eyes to a whole new realm of fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
And that's what...
That Sully guitar right there, I don't even want to leave it here. It doesn't belong to me. It was sent here for you. I want to take it back to my house.
Well, that's one of the things that Sully and I did discuss in the podcast was that it's one of the things I'm really grateful for doing the channel and borrowing guitars. Like I borrowed that Mexican EVH from Jeff, and I borrowed several South Korean made guitars from Shelby and Ethan at this point. And they're just great guitars. They're way better than the import guitars when we were teenagers.
Right.
That's,
And I've been so far removed and kind of scared to go that route or even explore it.
Yeah.
And you guys having done it for me, and then me just kind of getting to piggyback off of it, come in here and play this stuff. Man, it's like I've been missing out.
Yeah.
We've been missing out, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think I'm going to change direction. I'm not going to, because I used to always kind of sweat, and that's probably why I was so impulsive a lot. Was every guitar I wanted was $2,500 or $30, and then it became $5,000, then it became $6,500. Now it's $7,000 to $12,000 for these historics, and I've had them all.
Yeah,
I've sold them all.
Yeah,
but they're wonderful guitars.
Yeah.
I would never tell anybody not to buy one, but you don't have to.
Yeah. I am perfectly okay
you don't have to.
Yeah. Perfectly okay with the Gibson USA just off the shelf.
The new
guitars.
50s are great. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
You're going to love it, man.
Looking forward to checking that one out. And again, the South Korean guitars, they're amazing right now. And I'm
getting one.
Yeah, I still
getting
want. I think it was last year. It was a Mexican made or made in Mexico. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But it's one of the EVH. They made like a vintage silver burst finish.
Right.
And I'm always going to be a sucker for a good silver burst. Huge Tool fan, always have been, because Tool, like the Undertow album came out, was that 92? So I was a sophomore in high school, and it's just hit at that perfect time in my life, and so I'm always been an Adam Jones fan, and
I've always been an Ace fan, Ace Frehley. A little bit heartbroken this week, but life's life.
Yeah.
And my buddy Randy, won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but a month ago, I've been trying to come up here for a couple of months, and every time I make plans, something horrific happens.
Yeah.
Had a friend pass away, had another friend with a brain bleed, which is what killed Ace, unfortunately. But yeah, man, Ace Frehley was my man. You're talking about Adam Jones. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no worries.
Ace Frehley was my man. And Dimebag, but it started out with Ace, man. I had the Kiss belt buckles. I had the Kiss lunch boxes. I had the Kiss everything. In fact, when I got in trouble, I lost my Kiss stuff. And I remember one time I shouldn't say this. I had this poster. I was probably 6 or 7, and I was scared of the dark. And my mom came in and ripped my Gene Simmons poster off the wall because it was a demon.
Yeah.
And then I was mad at my mom, and then she put another one back up, and I was still scared of the dark. So
yeah. Well, Southeast Texas, kind of Bible country, and I went through the same stuff with my father growing up. This is devil music.
Well, my mom and them, they didn't, they turned me on to my mom and my grandmother turned me on to Charlie Pride, and Elvis, and Ray Charles, and good stuff. But my stepmother turned me on to, I found Kiss all by myself, but my stepmother turned me on to like Bad Company, REO Speedwagon, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay,
mine was very different. So my mom primarily listened to gospel music, because she grew up super, super, super religious. My grandfather was a minister, and she grew up like literally in the church. And I'm sure she listened to some other. I just don't remember much else. Like she did like a lot of the Amy Grant, like the Christmas albums and all that kind of stuff.
Oddly enough, my stepmother listened to that too. Yeah.
And that's
Amy Grant, and then Led Zeppelin back. It's like.
Well, we still Rachel and I have like Amy Grant stuff that we play at Christmas time. But like I said, for the most, like the biggest thing I remember with my mom is gospel music, and my father, like the Beach Boys. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like the Beach Boys.
Beach
Every
Boys
time
awesome.
we got into the car, like I cannot tell you how many thousands of times in my life I have heard 409 and Barbara Ann.
Nice.
But like I said, it's like. He listened to 6, and there was like a little Don McLean, the Bye Bye Miss American Pie. But, it was like 80% of what my father listened to was the Beach. So we just didn't have much variety in music when I was growing up.
My stepmother lived off in Dallas, Fort Worth area, so I spent most of my time, out Southeast Texas with my mother. Another big influence on my life, believe it or not, was Johnny Jono in the Cajun Man Bandstand. And we would listen to Johnny Jono, KLVI, every Sunday morning, and his music. And ended up first grade, I think. I was one of the 2 kids in school that had Kiss belt buckle. And just so happened, Johnny Jono Jr., we became friends. That's how we became friends. But he didn't realize. I mean, we became friends because he was a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to meet his dad.
Yeah, nice.
And I did, dude.
Nice.
So we didn't know it back then, but his dad'd be all like sitting there. You know, we'd go back and play Kiss and dress up like Kiss, and his mom would paint our faces, and we would go in there and talk with his dad, and his dad would be smoking cigarettes, we thought. No, those weren't cigarettes, buddy.
It is what it is, man. There was a lot of that back in the day, but like when I started like noticing music, it was, I had, my sister is 6 years older than me. So when I was like 10 and 11, she was in high school. So, this is back when like MTV is kind of taken off. And
yes, I miss MTV.
Like I remember like she would watch, she liked rock, but she also, was kind of into like some new wave stuff. So there was a lot of like Duran Duran and stuff like that. Was like the first kind of music I remember like noticing.
Some of that stuff's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, like I still think The Reflex is a great song.
Yeah.
And like the Information Society, Pure Energy, like that song.
Information Society.
But my sister, she started listening to like Rush and Styx and stuff like that. And then my brother, who's 2 years older than me, by the time we hit middle school, like 12 years old, 13 years old, and again, he's 2 years older than me. He's at that point starting to get into Metallica right when And Justice for All's.
That's when I got into him.
Yeah. And so through him watching the video for One on MTV, like that's when I was like, that's when I discovered heavy metal. It was like, oh, and of course, right around that same time again, with Operation Mindcrime, Queensryche Operation Mindcrime comes out. And the video for Eyes of a Stranger breaks on MTV.
Sure.
And so those are my two favorite albums. My favorite album of all time is Operation Mindcrime. My second favorite album of all time is And Justice for All.
Nice.
And I will never, ever not be jealous of this. But for those that remember, in 88, 89, whenever it was, Metallica was touring on the And Justice for All tour, and they brought out Queensryche touring on the Operation Mindcrime tour to open. My brother got a ticket for that show at the Beaumont Civic Center.
Hey. Yeah.
And he lied his butt off to my father to get there. And I don't know what my father thought he was dropping him off at. I don't know how he wasn't tipped off by all the leather jackets or denim jackets, either one, like with all the back patches and all the guys with long hair. But he dropped him off, but he had told him, I'm going to pick you up at this spot at X time.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's over or not. That's when I'm picking you up. And so when that time came, my brother had to go outside and wait for him, and it's still like mid Metallica set. So my father pulls up, my brother opens the door, coming out of the Beaumont Civic Center, and my dad was pissed because again, my father was, that's the devil's music, and
again,
grew up in a very religious household.
Speaking of, like, Johnny Jono's mother took me and Johnny Jono to the Beaumont Civic Center when we were in 5th grade to see Y&T and Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And she took us, and it was great, wonderful. That was my first rock show ever, Beaumont Civic Center. The second, I was in Fort Worth, probably the same year, that summer.
Yeah.
And I seen them twice and didn't even realize until 30 years ago, maybe 30, 45 years ago, who I was even watching.
Yeah.
My dad would take us to Six Flags. Pantera was playing at Six Flags. And the reason why I remember that is because of the big cat, Pantera cat they would had behind the stage back then.
Yeah.
And I also remember Dimebag. This was before I was a Pantera fan,
Yeah.
had the Kiss belt buckle.
Yeah.
And I was like, check this dude out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But my dad didn't want to watch them. So it was either rides or we're going to the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I paid attention as long as my dad would let me. And, you know, I was a Pantera fan before they made it famous. But
well, that reminds me. Ever tell you the time we played at Six Flags in Dallas?
no.
They, at the time, were doing something called, I think it was called Live and Local. And they just would bring in
Yeah.
like regional bands, and you played 30-minute sets, and it was just like in this opening in the middle of the park.
Yeah, yeah. That's where Pantera was playing.
And we played 30-minute sets.
They did have like a little amphitheater, but it was
Yeah.
right by the roller coasters or something.
Yeah,
you know?
that's basically where we were. So after you got done with your sets, you basically had free run of the park after
Yeah.
that. And they gave us like the temporary flash passes, so we got to go to the front of the line. So we play our 30-minute sets, and there was like a couple of, you know, some teenagers like would walk about, like, you know, really dug what we were doing. That was cool. But the punchline is we got done, loaded up all of our stuff. Then they gave us the temporary flash passes, and I ran giggling like a school child from roller coaster to roller coaster, basically until every single other person in the band's like, I can't ride it anymore. Like, you guys suck.
Oh no!
But
Anybody throw anything at you?
Nah. The funniest part though, we play. No, that was Residue. That wasn't Litany. It was Residue. Because John was in the band at the time, and we rode the Texas Titan. And I probably rode it 4 times that day. But the Texas Titan is a like gigantic wooden roller coaster. But there's a part, it's like a corkscrew turn.
Yeah.
And it's like goes on for so long, and I thought this was awesome. I was losing vision in one of my eyes. Like it was just like yeah, usually that's like a sign you're about to pass out, basically. But it was only in one. Like the other eye was fine, but you get the tunnel vision thing.
G-forces start getting to
Yeah, and so like I ran back to the other guys, like that was so awesome. I almost lost vision in one of that, you know. So John. So we all go back and like we're all gonna ride it because we decide we're gonna, because they take the picture as you're going through. So that was going to be like a band picture as us in the roller. So we all sat together in the roller coaster car. And we ended up riding it twice because like the first time, like John's right behind me and I can hear him, and we go into that corkscrew and I hear, oh.
He was one of those guys, and all of a sudden he comes to,
and it was like he comes to, you know, and it was even worse the second time. But it was we bought the picture on, and I've got it still somewhere. But we bought the picture on the roller coaster from the second ride, and like, you know, Corey's like, and I'm kind of turning behind me, going, "This is where they take the picture." Yeah, so I look stupid. I think. Like our drummer's like, you know, having a great time. And then there's John. Looks like he's about to die.
I remember the Residue little skit you used to make for YouTube. Those were
the
fun.
Residue TV.
Yeah, Residue TV. That was fun. You know, you've always been good at this. And I remember Residue was probably one of the first bands I don't know, that you were in where y'all traveled in like a Winnebago. So we were doing that with Keith, and he would get his uncle's Winnebago. And that, the smells that come out of those Winnebagos when you're on the road.
Unfortunately, we only got to do that once. We played in a show in Lubbock with Velvet Brick, another band here in Austin. It was a great band, and their drummer owned.
Look, I wore my Austin shirt. Austin Guitar House.
Oh, there you go.
Forgive me, Austin, and forgive me, Guitar House. Never been there. Somebody gave me this shirt. But I would like to go. Do you even know where it's at?
We can Google it when we're done.
Squirrel.
So, all right, we've been going for like an hour and a half now. Let's go ahead and cut it for tonight because we really didn't talk that much about guitars themselves, but that's okay.
You know what? You and Ethan and Shelby have covered everything I know about guitars. Go watch those.
But there's always something to talk about with guitars, and it's always something different to talk about because we've already got ideas for future episodes but and that's again that the whole idea is I want to get as many of my friends on this as I can, and I want to get as many of my friends on this as I can multiple times, and we'll just talk about everything. It's all about.
Well, hopefully we'll work next year, and with the band, and you can come down and jump up on stage, and we can just play Rockstar again.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
It may or may not happen, but everybody's in a good place. If there's any opportunities, all we need to do is make it happen now. But we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it.
I made $3.22 this year so far. That's my residuals and royalties.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm officially up to $25 on YouTube. So
you're making way more money and having more fun with this than. $3.22. So that's split 5 ways actually. So, and then we had to pay taxes. So, if we're still a business, we might as well still be a band. And nobody's actually said, "Hey, man, I don't want to do this no more," except Brent, which,
Well, it's fun, man. It's fun. And again, as long as it's not like, because we're all older and wiser and got lots more obligations.
Sure.
But
life's good for everybody,
But as long as it stays
I'm
fun.
happy to see that too.
Yeah, as long as it stays fun.
Not just my band, for my friends and everybody. Life's good.
Yeah, it is. So.
And I want that Concorde, dude. let's knock this off and play that Concorde.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to take off. Thanks for watching. If you managed to make it this far, you're brave.
There's a Sully guitar over here. We're fixing to bust loose on.
Well, there's literally like 30 guitars over here in the corner, so we're about to start messing with guitars. So, have a good night.
Peace.
Babe,
Yes.
is there a guitar under my bed?
Yes.
Why is there a guitar under my bed?
Because I ran out of room in the closet.
Whatever.